Welcome to Thinking Outside the Soil with your host, Seany Alfalfaseed, where we get to talk story and touch on topics about hydroponics and the farmers who grow the crops and creatures we need to eat. Good morning, and happy Wednesday from the farm. Thank you for being with us on this beautiful morning. Today, I wanted to talk a bit more about opportunity costs and the difference between the opportunity costs of sprouting versus micro fodder, or what some people call microgreens. When considering hydroponic fodder, there's really two types of plants to consider, or two types of ways to talk about hydroponic fodder. There are sprouts and there is micro fodder. Sprouts are going to be defined as that initial stage of growth of the plant where the seed has just begun to germinate and the roots have just started to develop. So you'll start to see the little radicle of the root and the first two leaves of the cotyledon come out before the true leaves. Now, micro fodder, on the other hand, is going to be the second stage of growth where that plant develops its first real set of true leaves. Sprouts do have a few advantages over micro fodder in terms of opportunity cost. So firstly, sprouts grow much faster than micro fodder, typically taking only about 3 to 6 days to reach a mature plant that can be edible, whereas the microgreen of the same type of plant can take up to 2 to 3 weeks to mature. And what that means is sprouts can be produced in much larger quantities in a shorter amount of time, which translates to a faster turnaround time and a greater potential for profit. Sprouts also require less space and equipment than micro fodder, which makes them more accessible options for small-scale farmers or those with limited resources like money or space. And the biggest difference between some of those things is sprouts are able to use a minimal amount of equipment and space requirement compared to micro fodder, which often requires more space or more specialized equipment like lighting. However, microgreens also have an advantage of their own. For one thing, microgreens can have a higher nutritional value than sprouts. So as the plant develops its first true leaves and begins to build more plant matter, it has the potential to contain more nutrients and vitamins than that sprout counterpart. And many of those microgreens can be sold at a higher price point than their sprout counterpart due to that higher nutritional value, the longer growth time, and essentially the higher yield per individual. Now, in terms of the opportunity costs of adopting either options, farmers need to consider the potential benefits and drawbacks of each of those hydroponic fodder options. So for those looking for a faster and more accessible option, sprouts are probably the way to go, and it's what I say you should do. However, for those who want to prioritize nutritional aspects and look at their potential profits from that perspective, microgreens is probably a better choice for you. Ultimately, though, the decision of whether to grow hydroponic fodder as sprouts or microgreens depends on your individual goals, your resources, and your priorities. In short, it's important to carefully consider the opportunity costs and the potential benefits of each of the hydroponic fodder options before making a decision on which one might be right for you. Though that is all I have today for us on this wonderful Wednesday. If you want to learn more about how hydroponic fodder is helping farmers save water, improve livestock quality, and become better stewards, head on over to thinkingoutsidethesoil.com and get yourself a copy of my book so you don't miss out on becoming part of this next agricultural revolution. Join us again tomorrow, and thank you for being with us on another episode of Thinking Outside the Soil. Take care and have a lovely day. Hey, before you go, check out the links below, and if you'd be so kind as to leave a rating and review and follow the show. For those with feathered friends, don't forget to get yourself some of our Blooming Health Farms Chicken Blend Sprouting Mix. This supplemental mix has been shown to give you some of the best eggs with the yummiest yolks. You'll have happy, healthy hens that abandon the feeder and give you eggs with high levels of vitamin A and omega fatty acids. So don't forget to get yourself some Blooming Health Farms Chicken Blend Sprouting Mix.